This is the second part of my sweater quantities videos. And for this episode I have also pulled some summer yarns because summer is right around the corner and it is high time to get started on our summer knits for those of us who enjoy that. Hi, hello and welcome to Knit in the City. I am Rebecca and the city is an aspiration. Today I am wearing my fresh off the needles ballerina wrap top, and more about that in a later episode. I just wanted to say that I'm quite pleased with how it came out. I'm actually also wearing my square neck camisole that kind of falls off my shoulders, but still, they kind of work well together. Okay, back to the matter at hand. This second episode will be quite a lot shorter than the first one, because I only have 7 yarns or yarn combinations to talk about today. The video is structured in the same way as the previous one. I initially talk about what I planned for the yarn when I first bought it, and then I will go through a few alternative patterns that I also like and that will work with the yarn at hand. I will not talk in depth about each pattern, but I will just say something about what I like about it, a bit about what's special about the garment and the construction. And that's all, so let's dive in. The first yarn I'm going to talk about is Drops Kid Silk in this lovely mauve color. And I have had this yarn for quite some time. And the reason is that I don't have anything to combine it with. So I am thinking, I have been searching high and low for a fingering weight yarn in this color. And the closest one I could find was a Sandness Sunday. They are quite pricey, to be honest. So I haven't bought that yet. So I am contemplating making a garment that only contains mohair. And to be honest, I did buy this yarn without planning ahead. I think I picked it up at a sale, but to be honest, I can't really remember that now. The things I could imagine making with this yarn is Beauty by Kim Hargreaves. And I really like the deep V of this sweater, both in the front and in the back. It looks expensive and it has a sensual vibe to it that goes with the style that I have concluded works for me. This one is knit from the bottom up in pieces, unfortunately. And I don't think I'm gonna knit anything in pieces anytime soon, because you all know how I feel about seaming. It has a raglan construction and 3/4 sleeves, which I also don't like, but it looks good in the pictures. The pattern comes from a book called North, and the pattern can only be purchased as a physical book, which also makes it a bit difficult. But there are some other nice patterns in this book if you are interested. The second option is Aftenbluse, which is Danish for evening blouse. And this next pattern is a bit easier to come by. It's a sheer blouse made with just silk mohair, and it has a nice deeper neckline and a pretty peplum at the bottom. The blouse is knit bottom up and has a fitted body and wide sleeves. And I think that this is a really lovely garment. I don't know how I would look in a peplumed blouse, but that remains to be seen. The next yarn I'm going to talk about is Sandness Perint. And this is a vibrant purple that I am afraid might be a bit intense for me. I don't know. I still like it though, so I probably will knit something from this. And what I wanted to make with this when I bought it was the Sasha cardigan by Mandy Julie. And the reason I haven't started knitting this is I think that it's probably the purple color. It's a bit too in your face for this kind of design. The pattern on the sides is a bit cute, so I think like the gray that she wears in the pattern pictures would be more suitable for a design like this, at least on me, I think. So this is a case of a mismatch between yarn and pattern, because I do like the yarn even though it's very bright, and I also really like the pattern, but I think I need to find a yarn that is a bit more neutral to knit this with. And the cardigan is a raglan construction, knit from the bottom up. It has wide bishop sleeves, and the button band is flanked with this interesting leaf-like pattern. The cardigan has a bit of a romantic feel to it, which I think may be the reason why I haven't made it yet. Or the other reason why I have not made it yet. I'm not sure that it works with my style, but like I said before, in a neutral, I think I could pull it off. Other things I would like to make with this yarn. The thing with this yarn, this is 100% wool, it's very round and bouncy, so it just lends itself really well for a textured pattern. It would be kind of a shame to knit a garment in plain stockinette with this yarn. It doesn't really shine as it would in a cabled or other textured pattern. But worked in a worsted weight yarn with all those cables, it would eat up a lot of yarn, perhaps more than I have. I think I have 12 balls of this, or do I have 15? I don't know, but I mean, I would be straddling the line. The second pattern that I have been thinking about for this yarn is the sweater number 20 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. And if you have been following me, you know that I already started working on this pattern in a different yarn. So I will not be making the sweater number 1 in this yarn. But this is Drops Kid Silk and Drops Daisy held together, and this is a really nice and soft sweater that I can't wait to start wearing. But that is a side note. So the next yarn I am going to talk about is BC Garn by Shetland, which is a lovely yarn that has been hanging around in my stash for a really long time, and that is super annoying. And I think the reason for this is that this is a very thin yarn. Let's see, this is a 50-gram hank, and it has 280 meters. So it's like super thin. I did buy a mohair to hold with it, and this is the Drops Kid Silk. It is a little bit lighter, but as you can see, this is a bit, there are flecks of different colors in this yarn. So I think that they go really well together, but I'm going to have to swatch to make sure. But since it's so thin, I have been struggling to find patterns, but perhaps I can get, with the mohair, I might be able to get gauge for a fingering mohair design. I don't know, I have to swatch, like I said. What I first planned to make was Growing by Lone Kjeldsen. And the reason I picked this yarn was initially that it uses this same yarn that I already have. So it was a match, and held with a mohair. And I also really like the details on this cardigan, the front pockets and the pretty line across the shoulders. This cardigan is worked from the top down in stockinette, and it has ribbed details. The pattern includes instructions for a longer and a shorter version, and I only think I have enough yarn for the shorter version. The reason I haven't made this is I am a bit scared that this kind of design would maybe look a bit frumpy on me. So that's why I haven't continued with this. Other things that I would like to make is the Cara Jumper by Vertknit. And this is the type of cardigan that I have been wanting in my wardrobe for a long time. It's simple, but it looks great. It's feminine without being girly. It has a lovely deep V-neck and a lightweight look to it, and probably feel as well. This cardigan has a drop shoulder construction and neat details like I-cord edges, and it looks just really refined and at the same time simple and could be worn with almost anything. So I mean, this is a hot contender for this yarn combination. Another pattern that could work with this yarn is the April cardigan by Petite Knit, and this is also a pattern that I have been eyeing for quite some time. And it is kind of the same type of cardigan. It's simple, it's classic, it's feminine without being girly, and it has nice details. And this would be a staple in a lot of people's wardrobes. This cardigan is a bit more fitted than the previous one, and it has a more shallow V-neck. It looks as if it is a combination of a saddle shoulder and a raglan, which is also nice. It's knit at a slightly bigger gauge than the Cara jumper, and perhaps that could be a problem with this really thin yarn. I don't know yet. Okay, I also have a couple of quantities of summer yarn that I am planning to talk about today. And the first one is Sandness Lina in this lovely turquoise color. This is just very summery, I think. And what I first planned to make with this yarn is the Talia cardigan by Sandness Design. And I really loved this cropped V-neck cardigan with a single closure at the front. It's perfect over a dress or worn at the beach, as in the picture from the pattern. And the reason that I haven't knit this yet is the rather annoying policy that you have to buy yarn with when you buy a Sandless booklet. And since I already have the yarn, I don't need that. I don't want to be bullied into buying more yarn. I want to buy more yarn because I want to. But yeah, that aside, the cardigan is knit top down and it has a simple raglan construction. And I am thinking that I should be able to knit this without the pattern. Other things I would like to make with this yarn is a second blouse number 1, because I love my first one so much. You've never heard that before. But yeah, I would be delighted to make another one. And since the other one is knit in Drops Bell, which is very similar to Lina, but it still has a different feel to it. And I made it in cherry red, and this is just on the other side of the spectrum. I think it would be perfect. I love the way this fits. I'm obsessed with the bell sleeves. I'm a bell sleeve kind of girl, I have noticed, because I mean the Kylie pullover also has bell sleeves, and I really love that. This is a top-down design with a contiguous sleeve construction, which just looks really neat, and it's very simple to knit. It has a boat neck, short rows at the back, and rolled hems that just look really awesome after it's been blocked. The second option is the Haley sweater. And I just talked about this in my spring knitting inspo episode, but it is a great contender for this yarn. I really like how open this sweater is. And in the Lina, it would be perfect for summer wear, at least in the evenings or on less hot days. And this is a top-down drop shoulder construction with a simple lace pattern. So the sweater also has a front panel with a cable in the middle, flanked by 2 cables of a slightly more intricate lace pattern, but it still looks rather easy to knit. The second summer yarn that I was going to talk about is Colorful Freya. And this purple yarn I used to knit an outline tee by Jessie Made Designs last summer, that I have been wearing a few times. I do think it looks frumpy on me, so not as much as I wanted to. It looks really cool in the pattern pictures, so I don't know what's wrong. But never mind, that's not what we're here to talk about. The yarn I am talking about today is not this purple color. It's the same yarn, but it's brown. I couldn't find the brown yarn, so that's why I'm showing you this. It's 100% cotton. What I planned for the brown yarn was the Umbria Summer Top by Cookie the Knitter. And I actually bought the brown yarn at the same time as this purple to knit that. But I got deep into summer knitting and I didn't get around to making it. But I would still like to. And this is a top-down raglan shirt knit in a broken rib pattern. It doesn't button all the way up, so the neck falls to the sides, resembling a shirt lapel, and I think that looks really neat. Other things that I could make with this yarn is the Tip Top Tank Fine by Emily Baldwin. I already made a tip-top tank in the DK weight using a cotton bamboo blend, and I really like this tank. And the only thing wrong with it is that it's a little bit too short, but apart from that, it's great. This is a free pattern. It also has a bow tie expansion that you can also get for free. And I would love to make a fingering weight version because that's even better for summer. And possibly with those shoulder ties. I do have enough yarn for that. It is a V-neck tank top that has a V both in the front and the back, and I think the V just has the perfect depth. It looks really nice. It is knit bottom up, and that's probably the reason why it's a bit too short. No, I'm not gonna lie, I always knit things too short because I get impatient. It has side slits and also a decorative rib detail going up the sides. And the second alternative for this yarn is the Darjeeling top by Trust the Mojo. And last summer I made a Darjeeling blouse that unfortunately I have not been wearing, mostly because I knitted a size too small and because I chose buttons that are too small for the buttonholes, which means I cannot button the thing because it just opens. And also the button bands roll like crazy, so it can't be worn open either. But with all the knowledge that I have of this pattern, I'm sure I would be able to make a fully functional top. And this is a pretty vest, knit bottom up with a picot hem and a simple lace pattern at the bottom of the body. It has I-cord edgings around the neck and armholes. I do have a couple of bonus entries, and the reason that these are bonus entries is that I bought these yarns quite recently. And I don't have any alternative patterns for these because I really want to make the things that I bought them for. And the first one is Drops Flora in this beige color. It looks really white on screen. It is kind of a, I mean, when I saw it on screen before I bought it, it looks a little bit pinkish. I mean, it's totally a beige, but with like a pink tinge to it. I think it's a bit more pure beige now that I see it in person, but I hope it will still work. And I am planning to make a Birkin polo with this. I talked about the Birkin polo in the first episode of my sweater quantities, or the first part of my sweater quantities, when I talked about Luna by Permin, which is this lovely yarn. I was afraid that this wasn't going to be enough to make a Birkin polo. So that's why I bought this yarn, because I really want to make the Birkin polo. I really want a Birkin polo. It has a slim fit, ribbing, and a really nice polo collar. The shoulder detail is really pretty. It's knit top down in the round with a satin sleeve. And the neck edgings and the collar is double knit. And now I have enough yarn to make it, so I'm thinking that that is definitely going to happen. The second yarn, or yarn combination, and the last yarn combination that I'm going to talk about today is Drops Flora and Drops Kid Silk, which is a combination that I really like, in this navy blue. They're not exactly the same color, but when you knit them together, it looks really nice. And I bought these to knit the Eun Sweater Light. And I have been eyeing this pattern for a while. And when the light version was released, I felt like I needed to have it. I really like this sweater with its deep ribbing, the side slits, and the contemporary look. I have a tendency to choose patterns with more things going on. And I could really use a very sleek and simple sweater that goes with everything. Eun is worked top down and has a raglan construction. It has a double folded collar and short rows in the back neck. It's an oversized garment worked with 2 strands of yarn, a fingering and a lace. And I have actually already started knitting on this. So this is definitely going to happen. This is the collar. I will talk more about this in my monthly roundup episode, as I will with this, and I will show it to you properly. So I'm not going to go into this right now. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you could take something from this. Maybe take a look at your own sweater quantities. Perhaps, like me, you have more in your drawers than you thought you did. Have a lovely day and keep on knitting. Bye bye!